There are various types of succession which are shaped by the terrain, climate, and biotic factors. For example, the succession occurring on a barren rockscape will differ from the succession that take place on sandy soil or in a saline water ecosystem. In order to gain a broad understanding of ecological succession, let's examine an aquatic ecosystem transforming into a terrestrial community. Take a simple pond. In the initial stage, phytoplankton like blue-green algae, green algae like Spirogyra, diatoms, and bacteria are the pioneer communities. These algae are eaten by the zooplanktons, protozoa like amoeba, and paramecium and small fish like bluegill fish and sunfish. As these organisms die, their dead remains are deposited into the pond. Over time, the organic matter in the pond increases, and microorganisms utilize the decaying matter, releasing nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium into the ecosystem. This nutrient-rich soil in the pond then supports the growth of rooted hydrophytes, such as Hydrilla, Vallisneria, and Ceratophyllum. When the hydrophytes die, their dead remains slowly deposit in the pond and help drive the detritivorous food chain, adding to the nutrient content. The shallow water region of the pond is known as the submerged vegetation stage. Along with these hydrophytes, various invertebrate animals like dragonflies, mayflies, crustaceans such as cypress, cyclops, and daphnia slowly join the ecosystem. These flora and fauna further develop the complex food webs. Over time, as rains and wind bring soil and debris, causing silting, the depth of the pond decreases. The next stage of succession is inhabited by rooted floating vegetation, or plants whose leaves float on the surface and the roots remain in the mud, such as Nelumbo or lotus, Trapa, and Monocoria. In this stage, a diverse community of animals also come to inhabit the pond, like frogs, salamanders, snails, turtles, and snakes. Even insects inhabit the exposed leaves of the hydrophytes. Next come the free-floating hydrophytes, whose roots float in water. Plants like Azolla, Lemna, and Pistia are examples of this stage, which also add to the organic matter and depth of the pond. Slowly, the pond becomes swampy due to the increasing dead and decaying content. This stage is variously called the reed swamp stage, inhabited by typha, phragmites, and sedges like cypress and carex. With the reed swamp stage, the initial deep pond is transformed into a mesic habitat. Gradually, shrubs like salix and cornus invade this environment, further making the habitat less favorable for aquatic plants and animals, and more conducive for terrestrial species. Trees like populus, almus, and other such wetland trees occupy this habitat, which ends in the climax stage inhabited by deciduous species. This process of ecological succession takes approximately 200 years. For an aquatic habitat like a pond to transform into a woodland, there exists a number of intervening seral stages. Here, as we have seen, the submerged hydrophytes, floating hydrophytes, and shrubs exemplify the seral stages. Some seral stages might take longer than others to transform from one ecosystem type to another, such as from swamp to marshland, which could take several decades. In conclusion, succession is a dynamic process that is continually working towards a climax community. Nature, in essence, is striving to reach its highest state of balance and perfection.